Coming in from a new fire in Riverside, California. Banfield will continue with our breaking coverage right now.
Hi, everybody. It is 10 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 7 o'clock in Riverside, California. And as Dan just mentioned to you, brand new breaking news. Not the news we want to hear as we are into week 2 tomorrow morning of these wildfires in LA and the extended area in California. And that is that yet another wildfire just broke out about 2 hours ago. Let me just give you the bits and pieces that I know. And it isn't much right now. I can tell you that this is considered a brush fire. It's close to homes, apparently. And if you know the area, maybe this will make sense to you. Jurupa Valley near the Santa Ana riverbed. Firefighters are worried about it because, of course, it is close to those homes. It's called the Clay Fire, so get used to that one. The Clay Fire, first reported near Clay Street and Van Buren Boulevard. I don't know that area, but if it makes sense to you, it's in the Riverside area. It was quickly upgraded to a third alarm fire by the Riverside County Fire Department. Those crews are already on scene and obviously facing the same struggle against infernos that everyone else is facing in the greater Los Angeles area. So I will tell you this. There are evacuation orders. There are warnings as well. There's a reception center at Patriot High School. Nobody knows at this point what started the flames, but as we get into this show, I hate that I have to report this. Arsonists are being arrested. I will show you some of the real ne'er-do-wells who are making a horrible situation much worse. Not only arsonists, but also looters. And there are many of them. Of course, what has to be done because of these bottom-of-the-barrel scum is the diversion of first responders to protect people's whatever they have left from these dirt bags. Anyway, I will get into that in a minute, but Riverside City I'll give you sort of the feel for how far away this, and here's the live picture that we can show you. We're going to try and zero in as best we can. Kind of hard to figure out exactly where flames and homes are at this point, but you can see some fire crews in the streets, and it says Los Angeles, but I want to make sure you're aware that this is about 55 miles east of Los Angeles. And then if you can just imagine for a moment, we've been talking about Los Angeles proper, and then up northeast about 16 miles is Altadena, where the Eaton fire has been so incredibly destructive. So go way east, 55 miles east, and that's when you land in Riverside. Again, if you know Altadena, it's not that far from San Bernardino. And this brush fire, you see the flashlights on the ground. I always find that fascinating because now you know there are bodies on the ground right near those fire specks. And, you know, what they can do quickly is hopefully get those out because there is a problem on the horizon, and that is the winds are about to pick up. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. First, let me just see what else I can get you regarding these fires that are brand new. Again, breaking news tonight, just at 10:03 Eastern, 7:03 Pacific time. This fire there was a fire reported at 9 in the morning as well. The winds pushed these flames up an embankment towards a freeway. A couple of southbound lanes apparently were shut down because of this. It was reported as a vegetation fire, and it's unclear as to whether that ignited the brush or one of the vehicles apparently that burned. One of the firefighters is saying. So it's possible that there was a vehicle that caught on fire as well. But again, a brush fire burning really close to homes in the Jurupa Valley area near Santa Ana riverbed. And when I said that they're trying to get those spots away quickly, the reason is because the most dangerous winds are hours away. I'm not talking about last week. I'm talking about now. The most dangerous winds are just hours away. It is not just bad tonight, not just extreme. The forecast for the wildfires in the Los Angeles area and Ventura County area is, quote, about as bad as it gets. The extreme of the extreme scenarios, and this is not me describing it, these are the direct quotes from the National Weather Service. And I have to be honest, the National Weather Service is not exactly known for hype nor exaggeration. The problem, once again, Santa Ana winds. The sustained winds of 40 miles an hour are forecast for this night and for tomorrow. And the gusts in this period of time expected to reach 70 miles an hour. And yes, if you're wondering, that is very near hurricane strength winds, and more than enough to escalate the red flag warning that already exists to a, quote, particularly dangerous situation. That's not just a description. That's actually an official condition. It's not hyperbole. The so-called PDS, particularly dangerous situation zone, is the one you're seeing on your map in pink. And yeah, that overlaps with the 3 major fires that continue to burn as we speak. And don't forget, high winds not only keep those fires going and growing, they keep aerial airships, those fire bombers, they keep them on the ground. These lifesavers and property savers and fire stoppers, when those winds pick up, those birds go down, those fixed wings go down, which means these remarkable scenes are going to have to go on hold. A little while anyway. The 2 biggest fires that we've been talking about since last week, Palisades west of LA on the coast, and the Eaton fire northeast of LA in the foothills, those have now burned almost 40,000 acres. 40,000 acres. Remember that the city of San Francisco is 30,000 acres. This fire's 40,000 acres. More than 12,000 homes and other buildings have been scorched. The Eaton fire is only about 1/3 contained, which means 2/3 uncontained. Palisades, the bigger fire, just 14% contained, 86% uncontained. At least 24 people at this time are known dead in these fires. 23 others are unaccounted for, and the LA County Sheriff says the death toll is almost certain to rise as the search crews and the cadaver dogs continue to sift through the ruins.
We are in the 3rd day of grid searching. It is a very grim task, and we, unfortunately, every day we're doing this, we're running across the remains of individual community members. That is not easy work, very sad to report, and I believe that work is not only going to continue, but I believe will continue to find remains. So please be patient with us. People are saying, I just want to go look at my house and I want to see what's left. We know that, but we have people literally looking for the remains of your neighbors.
As if all that death and destruction weren't tragic enough, the LA District Attorney said today, and I quote, "We are starting to see criminals emerge. We know of almost 36 arrests so far for looting, and one of those suspects allegedly took that despicable act to a brand new low. Police say he dressed as a firefighter while trying to steal someone else's stuff." Dressed as a firefighter. That DA, Nathan Hochman, announced the 10 new arrests himself. 9 of them were for looting. 1 was for arson, though the arson, to be clear, that charge isn't connected to the big active fires. But have a listen to the DA.
The first set of charges are against 3 individuals, Martrell Peoples, Damari Bell, and Travin Coleman. What 2 of these individuals did is on the night of both January 8th and the early morning hours of January 9th, they went ahead and committed first-degree residential burglary and looting during an emergency and evacuation situation in a house in Mandeville Canyon. They have been charged with first-degree residential burglary. They've been charged with looting. They've been charged with grand theft. They stole over $200,000, as been alleged by the charging documents. And when they committed these crimes, as you're going to see on this TV screen right here to my left, it was caught on a Ring camera. If you can play that as we're speaking. And the LAPD, through, again, such impressive investigation, worked with various leads and tracked Mr. Peoples and Mr. Bell to an apartment in Koreatown. Surveillance was then conducted. When they attempted to leave, they were then apprehended, and a number of these stolen items from that residence was found with Mr. Peoples and Mr. Bell. The third set of charges is against Roy Sims, Ryan Sims, Naquan Dewey Reddix, and Pierre O'Bannon. They are each charged with one count of first-degree residential burglary in connection with their crimes, where they went into a house in Altadena in the early morning hours and stole a variety of different personal property from the owners of that house. Among the property that you'll see that was stolen in that particular incident was actually the Emmy Award of the resident who lived there. The fourth incident is an arson incident in which Jose Gerardo Escobar has been charged. Do we have that ready? This is an incident that occurred in Azusa, where Mr. Escobar has been charged with 3 different arson charges. He is looking at 9 years in state prison.
Can't wait for these trials if there's going to be a trial. Imagine the jury. He stole the Emmy. I want to bring in our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton. He's been hard at work, just doing the most difficult job. Brian, what's new tonight? We started off with this Riverside fire. Do you know anything about it? And then, of course, the area where you are as well. Update us on everything.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's about an hour and a half from where we are in Mandeville Canyon right now. That new fire, the hope, I mean, the video, the visuals from our NewsNation KTLA helicopter shows they're trying to contain it right now, but it's not good to see ahead, especially of the high winds tonight and tomorrow. One of those looting incidents happened not far from where I am right now, and I got to tell you, Ashleigh, they now have the 3-strike law in California. That recently just passed, and this applies to some of these suspects who have previous felonies. If you've got 2 felonies and this is now the 3rd felony, some of these looters, they could face life in prison, and no one has any sympathy for those guys right now around here, as you can imagine. But let me update you on the fire. This is our pickup truck, by the way. This is our Starlink. This is the only way we can get live or text message or anything, because there is no power. There's still no cell service anywhere around here, and I just want to look before we cross the street. This is one of the checkpoints that we've been telling you about. There is so much National Guard now out here, Ashleigh. Since last week, they've basically doubled the number of National Guard because of the looting, because of the safety concerns. So they're on all the blocks out here, checking all of the IDs. In terms of the fire up in the canyon behind me, this is really the front lines of the Palisades fire. You don't see as much smoke and flame. We didn't see that today. But what's interesting is the fire is now beneath the ground. It's beneath the soil in the roots. And the concern is when the wind picks up later tonight and tomorrow. I was out there this afternoon. Take a look. This is Mandeville Canyon, basically the front lines of the Palisades fire, and I want to show you, you've now got firefighters out on foot. If we zoom in, you can see them over there along the ridge. What they're doing is they are digging, and they've got hoses out there, and they're building these barriers, a fire line between the area that is still scorched and between the homes. And it's deceiving out here, because you come out here and you think, wow, it all looks so much better. There's not the big flames we saw this weekend. But when you talk to the firefighters, they explain that if you dig down just a little bit, there is still fire beneath the ground. And the concern is when the winds pick up later tonight into tomorrow, that's what could lead to some real problems. And it is deceiving, Ashleigh, because I went out there today and I thought, man, it's so much better than the weekend. But they were quick to explain to me that it is not going to take much wind at all to get some of those embers from beneath the ground back up and have this thing start spreading again, which is why there are so many firefighters out here now. Literally every single block, it feels like they've got someone staged. They're going to be there all night long in case anything sparks up here.
Yeah, I'm just so frustrated about the wind story, just hours away from these gusts that are near hurricane force strength. And just a quick update here, Brian, and it's coming in as we speak. The Los Angeles Times is reporting right now that Riverside brush fire, the crews there from the city and the county apparently have been able to halt the forward movement of that blaze. That happened not only 40 minutes ago, that they were able to halt the forward movement. It doesn't mean that they've contained that fire, so we'll keep updating as we look at the crews on the mountainsides there. That's just unbelievably tough work. You got some great video from a friend who's been running one of those Orange County fire helicopters, spreading the retardant that will hopefully contain some of the fires in these upcoming winds. Tell me about it.
Yeah, the retardant and the water drops. There are so many planes out here now, 30 aircraft at least, helicopters and also airplanes. They were running all weekend long, and today too, but they were really busy over the weekend when there were flames in this area with the Palisades. They go right over the fire. It's amazing. They swoop in and they go right over, and it almost looks like rain that you can see outside, but it's actually ash that they're dealing with, and then they drop the water. Take a look at this. I mean, it's hard work, Ashleigh. It's dangerous work. I'm told the biggest risks are hitting terrain or hitting other aircraft in the area, but they've just been so busy here in the sky, and then on the ground. The video you were showing live from the newest fire too. You see them all lined up. It's such hard work. They go out there with shovels and backhoes, and they move the dirt, and they've just been going nonstop, Ashleigh.
It's dark, it is smoky, it is mountainous, so yeah, that's a massive risk for the pilots, fearless pilots that are up there, and yet again, multiple aircraft all circling in and around that area. I put my hands together and I pray for them, and they're doing God's work. They really are. Brian Enton, I'm going to check in with you in a little bit in the show, because I want to just keep an eye on that Riverside fire as well as we continue to report. But I will say this, folks, help has been coming in all forms since this wildfire story just exploded on Tuesday last week. Firefighting crews have poured in from Texas and Colorado and New Mexico and Arizona and Washington, along with Mexico and Canada. And I dare say all of those people, including, of course, California's own firefighters, they're dedicated, highly trained professionals. But there's also a team that you may not know a lot about. Not so highly trained at the moment, but may join the ranks of the pros someday soon. They are prisoners, almost 1,000 incarcerated felons helping to fight these wildfires. They're not there by force. Each and every one of those inmates has volunteered for duty, and some of them are working 24-hour shifts. They only earn $10.24 a day for doing this very dangerous work, plus $1 for each hour that they are responding to a fire. But maybe far more importantly, for each day that they fight fires, 2 days are taken off their sentences. Sounds like a win-win, but a growing number of critics believe that $10 a day is an insult. Kim Kardashian is one of them. She's publicly challenging and calling on California's governor to, quote, do what no governor has done in 4 decades and raise the incarcerated firefighter pay to a rate that honors a human being risking their life to save our lives and our homes. I'm joined now by Royal Ramey. He's a former inmate who fought fires himself. And after being released, he went on to start the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program, which helps other former inmates build their careers in the outdoors. Royal, thank you so much. You are the absolute perfect guest at this moment. What an incredible story that we're just starting to hear about in more depth. And I just want you to bring it to me from your perspective. You go from the cell to the wildfire. Tell me about that experience and how it just changes you. Does it just flip a switch?
Thanks for having me. First and foremost, I would like to send my thoughts and prayers out to the families that have been impacted by the LA fires, and a big, shout out and thank you to all the first responders and the volunteers who have served our LA community. So I learned how to fight fire when I was in prison. I was a part of the California fire camp program. And, obviously, that this program has been around since the 1940s. Thousands of people have been going through this, program. And from my experience, though, we just know that the harsh reality is that once they get out, they face an uphill battle and getting jobs, right? And doing exactly the same work and knowing that it's a it's a labor shortage here. My experience personally, it was a roller coaster, mentally, emotionally, physically. But I turned that negative into a positive, and I found a career that I love. And now I'm trying to help others find that path as well.
I am so thrilled to hear your story. And I, for one, am just going to send you huge props to turn your life around like this and do such heroic work. I'm hoping that is the same experience many of those inmates are going to have. What's your prediction, Royal? Do you think, just in a percentage, the majority of them will get the same epiphany that you got, and will turn their lives around to become firefighters?
Yeah, a lot of individuals that I go and, go to fire camps, talk to them. They want to have an opportunity to fight fire. I think one of the biggest challenges and the biggest, ways of them wanting to be able to actually pursue a career is that they know that they actually have an opportunity, right? Like, because, for a long time, it was never a true pathway to be able to, become a professional firefighter after you haven't served in an incarcerated fire camp. But now that, folks that know that this is a possibility, we done helped over 200 people get jobs in the fire services 2018. So now that we continue to grow and hopefully one day expand, where we have our Bay Area location where folks can constantly a year-round program, and we have another location in San Bernardino where folks can be able to get that training and being able to become a professional firefighter. And it's definitely folks want to do it. It's just do they have a true pathway? Is it real? Because for a long time I felt public service and prison don't mix, right? Folks feel like they're zero, and then now they can be able to become a hero. Is definitely a eye-opening to them, and everybody wants a family-winning career, right? Everybody wants to be able to provide to take care of their families and provide for their families and be a part of the community and have purpose in life. So I think that's something
that's exactly it. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I wondered if the call goes out through the prison, and I'm dying to hear what it was like when you were in prison and you heard that this program existed. Hey, shave some time off your sentence, get out there and fight fires. How many of the inmates put their hands up and say, pick me?
Yeah, so like you said earlier, which is right. It's a voluntary program. There's a lot of benefits that come with it. Better food. They get, visiting privileges where it's like a park, park-like setting, right? Dormitory living. They're not in a cell. They get out in the community, do a lot of projects, and also eligible to get time off. So for me, that's why it exposed me to for the career, and that's why I love it, and that's why we actually started the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program, right? And I want to tell you a little bit about our organization, right, and what we do. So we are a career training, nonprofit that provides the opportunity for folks, obviously, transition to the fire service professionally, but we do this in 4 ways. We recruit, we train, we employ, and we're able to provide them a mentorship throughout their career. And right now we have a lot of folks out there in LA fighting fires, and we're definitely proud of them. So
I have just a couple seconds left, but I have to ask you this, because I think a lot of people wonder, is it risky? Will the inmates try and escape? Are they going to put their hand up to volunteer to firefight so that they can get out of prison?
Negative. A lot of folks that know that it's an opportunity for them to be able to be with their families, to be able to be a part of the community. It's not a threat, right? It has been different folks that come and try to escape, but that's a very minimum. They have a lot of precautionary areas where CDCR takes, where you have to have a criteria for folks to be able to be qualified for the program. But yeah, it's definitely, a program that changed my life personally. And I'm definitely just wanted to be able to provide that opportunity for other folks. And if you can donate at forestryfirerp.org, or even just spread our awareness more of what we do, you can go to ted.com/Royal Ramey, and you can hear a little bit more about our story. So I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity.
Chief Royal Ramey. Sir, it's an honor to interview you. Thank you for doing the incredible work that you do, and thank you for inspiring other inmates to turn their lives around, because that's really what it's all about, learning. Hopefully the incarceration process, if it doesn't work, your program and the inmates program, it does work. God bless you, and I wish safety to all the other inmates who are out there doing this work. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Great story, and I'm going to get Chief Ramey back on another night as well, as we continue to cover this story that just is so unwieldy. Quick break, don't go anywhere. When we come back, a family of firefighters that has served and protected Los Angeles for decades, and guess what? Now they are the ones who need help. And you heard right, a whole family of them. That's next. And Protect isn't just a slogan on police cars. For the Puga family of Los Angeles, it is a way of life. The Pugas are firefighters and hospital workers, the helpers, so to speak, that Mr. Rogers used to talk about so fondly. They're the ones rushing toward danger, not away from it. But last week, tragically, danger came for them. The Pugas barely escaped the Eaton fire with their lives and their pets. And even then, with their own home turned to cinders, they helped their neighbors get out. Now, without a place to live or any of their possessions, and with two family members who are firefighters and who are injured, they themselves have found that they need help. I'm joined now by Captain Jerry Puga, a 20-year veteran of the LA Fire Department, and his daughter, Allie. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. First of all, thank you for the service, the years and years of service that your family has given to your fellow community members. I guess, Jerry, the question I have for you is, I can't understand how you and your son stayed behind when your own life was in danger. You stayed behind. You lost everything, but you helped your neighbors. What went into the decision making?
Well, it's something that we've been accustomed to. We see these tragedies and trying to mitigate them, and we try to do our best to that's our job, to put this fire out, to keep it from happening and to be able to help people. And this time is trying to help myself, trying to protect my home. And we did what we normally do, but it came to a point when we realized we didn't have any hose lines. We just had a garden hose, and then it got to a point where it got too dangerous and we had to leave. And unfortunately, the outcome was that we lost our home.
You lost everything, and you and your son, I can see the pictures here, literally using garden tools trying to help neighbors. You and your son, both firefighters, and then Allie, your daughter, your boyfriend is a firefighter, and you yourself, work in public service as well. It's remarkable that you have all found yourselves always serving others and are now in need of help. First of all, how are you guys just doing mentally, just knowing what lies ahead?
Well, luckily, we have been mentally strong, thinking positively. I know it's a tragedy, but we're just focusing on what's ahead of us, not dwelling on what happened. And just for that, we're thank God, and we're so grateful. Yes, we lost everything. However, we know that all those things could be replaced. But just the fact that how things happened, we saw the fire break out it was about 6, 7 o'clock, nowhere near our home. We figured it's not going to affect us. We're fine. I maybe should have listened to my wife. My wife was telling me maybe we should leave. We should evacuate. And I was like, no, we're fine. It's not close to our house. Let's go to bed. We went to bed. We lost power. So now we couldn't see the news. We didn't know what was going on, but we went to bed. Around 3 a.m, I wake up. And something woke me up. I smell smoke, and I'm like, okay, I've been to many brush fires. I'm like, I know that smoke travels. That wasn't nothing that kind of got me worried. But now I don't have power. I can't see the news. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna go see where the fire's at. So I started driving the city at 3 a.m. Long story short, I get to the east side of town, and I see structures that are on fire, and I see now the embers going sideways in the direction of my house. So that's when I called my wife. Told my wife and my daughter to leave, to go to my sister's home, and I told my son to get the garden hose ready. That we were going to stay behind, and if any embers came to our house, we were going to put them out. But eventually, it got so so hot. So my neighbor's house started catching on fire, and I realized that there was nothing we could do. We just took our garden hose, and that's when we left as well.
And that's saying a lot. A family of firefighters trying to defend their own home, you know when to say when, and you know when to get out with your lives, and you got out with your lives. Allie, your boyfriend, also a firefighter. What's his story? Is his home okay? Is he on the front lines right now? What's his story?
Yeah, so Sam was at Palisades when our home caught on fire. So he was helping people evacuate over there and working and helping the community out there. And then when we got word, he got word that our home burned down, he was able to come home. And, you know, from a non-first responders point of view, it was really remarkable that all of them just jumped into action. Things that I would have never thought of. You know, when we were leaving, some automatic gates were locked because power was out, so no one can use their clicker. And my brother was smashing them so the gates could sling open so people can leave, and clearing some of the brush in the streets. There were a lot of live wires on the ground. So Sam came home and he helped. And in that video, you can see he's chopping down some brush because brush is fuel. So we're trying to get it out the way. Save some homes as much as they could do. And yeah, he's been gone for the past few days. He's working, he's helping the community. Once he realized there was nothing left to defend at home, he was like, I need to be out there.
I need to just tell our viewers at this moment that in your greatest time of need, Allie, when you need comfort, the person who comforts you most is out comforting others and saving others. That's what firefighters do. This is what a family of firefighters goes through. You can't even be there necessarily all for each other because there's still critical work to do, which is why when I ask my next question, I want to put up your GoFundMe so that it's up for the duration of the rest of our interview. Can I ask the control room, can you put up the Puga's GoFundMe so that everybody can see? Look, they've done everything for everyone else. That's all they do as a family of fighters. They help other people, and now they themselves need us. And so with that in mind, Jerry, I'm going to leave that image up for a bit, and I want to ask you about all your colleagues, because they've been working 24-hour shifts. I know that you are injured. I think your son is injured as well. Your fellow firefighters are doing 24-hour shifts. They're exhausted, and now we've got near hurricane force winds coming. How do things look for them? What are they saying to you?
You know that they're tired, but they definitely tired, but not giving up, and they're eager to go back and help the other people. And the night that happened, our department put out a bulletin requesting everybody to come in. I called that night to see if they needed me, but since I was injured, they denied my request. After the fact, I'm glad that took place because, again, now I was able to be home with my wife and help my family. Otherwise, I would have been gone. Everybody that is out there in the front lines, they're just doing a great job with everything that they have. And I know a lot of them been there for 5, 6, 7 days. I don't know how long without seeing their family, without being able to be there for the family. The sacrifice that we all signed up to do, and I know they're doing it willingly and just doing what they do best, which is helping.
Jerry, Allie, do you know yet? Is it too early to ask? What are you going to do? What are you going to do next?
Well, our first thing is we're trying to find a home. We're currently looking at places to rent, and just so that's going to be our reset button, and then just start from there, one day at a time. Long-term goal is to eventually be able to go back to our community.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest pieces for us moving forward is, a lot of people are experiencing homelessness right now. And so the housing market is competitive. So if you think buying a home is difficult, buying it at this time with all the stress and everything else that's happened that's been really taxing on our family, as well as Altadena is a very beautiful place. There's a lot of history and roots there, and we're scared to see what's going to happen. We're hoping that it doesn't get taken over by investors. We wanted to keep it. It's a small community. It's loving. It's very homey, and we're hoping that we can keep Altadena. We're really hoping that we can all stick together, because that's another thing that's on our mind. So yeah, there's a lot of little things that in the aftermath it's hard to think of because we're still focusing on, things in the home, where we're sleeping, our pets, gathering items, but still long term, I don't think we've really been able to soak in all of the impact that it has had.
It is, it's a lot. It is a lot. Just quickly remind everyone the name of the GoFundMe. It just popped down for a second, but say the name of the GoFundMe again. Is it the Puga family? Yeah.
Yes, help the Puga family after the Ian fire. Yes, that's us. Thank you.
Okay, we just put it back up on the screen. Allie Puga and your dad, Jerry Puga, thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for all of the work you've done for everybody else. I'm hoping that at least our viewers right now will get on and help you right back. Otherwise, I give you this advice: the Red Cross and FEMA and all the other places that are going to be there to help you because of what you've always done for everyone else. Thank you for this, and God bless, guys. Thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's help them out, everybody. Firefighters all losing their homes, and it's an entire family of firefighters. Still to come, there is a magic word for anybody who's in the path of the wildfire, and that is containment. It's job number one for the firefighters and the water bombers. But what does it mean exactly? Like, what exactly does it mean? And why is it taking so long in America's second most populated area to achieve this magical containment? You're going to hear exactly why next. When we talk about wind speeds and acres burned, the single most critical statistic for anybody whose home or life is at risk is containment in a wildfire. As we told you at the top of the hour, Southern California's Hearst fire, now apparently 97% contained. But the catastrophic Eaton fire, still only 33% contained. And the much bigger Palisades, only 14%. And wind, of course, major factor. Lighter winds at the end of last week allowed the crews to make some headway, but tonight the winds are picking up big. Forecast is grim. Sustained winds 40 miles an hour, gusts as high as 70. That's well into tropical storm territory, and it's verging on hurricane strength. That red flag warning that expired last Friday is back, and a so-called PDS warning is in effect. That means particularly dangerous situation. So containing these fires is going to be even harder. But what exactly does the term containment even mean? And what does it take to achieve it? For that, I turn to Dr. Chad Hansen, wildfire scientist and forest and fire ecologist with the John Muir Project. Dr. Hansen, thank you so much for being on. I keep seeing 0% contained, but I see firefighters at work, and I just sort of need you to get me off the ledge. What does it mean to be 0% contained versus 90% contained?
Yeah, it's a really important thing for people to understand. When a fire is 0% contained, it either means it just started or it's been burning for some time, but it's been burning under extreme fire weather, very dry air, dry conditions, high winds, where it's not possible for firefighters to actually get any control lines, which is the percent containment. They can't get any bulldozer lines or any hand lines with the fire tools or use other natural landscape features to get containment because the embers are being blown by the winds far in advance of the fire lines and creating new spot fires that are leapfrogging one over the other. And in circumstances like that, all they can do is try to help people safely evacuate, people and their animals, and make that the priority and do some structure defense whenever possible. But that has to be the priority because containing the fire in conditions like that is simply an impossibility.
So as a layperson, I imagine a containment line, I think you called it a control line, is like a 6-foot burn scar or black earth, zero vegetation that a fire can't jump over. But is that sort of a little too sophomoric?
No, it's not sophomoric. A control line can be an area where the firefighters have done a back burn. They've done a line of burning to basically prevent the fire from crossing that, which under more mild fire weather, that can certainly work. It could be a bulldozer line that where they just remove the vegetation through a certain line and distance. It could be firefighters in there with hand tools, like big hose essentially, and moving the vegetation away. Sometimes a natural landscape feature like a river can count. for that if the fire is not crossing it, spotting over it, or actively burning and threatening to cross. So all those can be containment lines. But again, when you have a circumstance when you've got these extremely single-digit relative humidity, wind gusts 40, 50, 60, 70 miles per hour or higher, then that is just not a possibility. In fact, you can actually see a percent containment go down in circumstances like that sometimes.
It's like having an army, rushing at you, and you're one guy and it's 50 guys of embers going past you. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I only have a couple seconds left, is that can a control line also be done with that fast check? That's that pink fire retardant that you see the bombers laying down. Does that fast check literally stop everything or just slow things wherever it lands?
More the latter. It's the place where, when a fire is actively burning in extreme fire weather and moving through the landscape, it really won't stop it. But where it can be very effective is at the perimeter of a community, very close to a community. If they do repeated drops with water in a single line, I've seen that makes a significant difference in recent fires, and it really can save homes and lives in circumstances like that.
Yeah, I can't stop watching the videos of them dropping, their payload. It's so remarkable. Oh, gosh, Dr. Hansen, I could talk to you for hours. I'd love to have you back. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. And good luck with everything.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here anytime.
So appreciate it. Coming back, I'm going to give you an update on that Riverside fire because it's coming in fast and furious. There's some good news to report as well. I'm back in a moment. Okay, a couple of updates for you, and it's good news, actually. That Riverside fire, forward progress of that brush fire was stopped. It's great. It happened at 6:30 their times, and that would be 9:30 Eastern time. Difficult to reach areas, though, north of the river, but that's not threatening structures, apparently. I do have one big development to tell you about. There are major concerns now about air quality in Los Angeles. We just knew this story was coming. The county has now declared a public health emergency, warning that smoke and particulate matter could pose immediate and long-term threats. They are telling everyone N95 masks are now available for free at Los Angeles libraries, recreation centers, and seniors centers. Boy, I hope they partake in that. I spent a lot of time after 9/11. I sure wish I'd had that mask on a lot longer. Folks, American Red Cross, your money goes so far. Cuomo is next.
Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to News Nation. The National Weather Service has now issued a severe warning to Los Angeles to brace for some of the heaviest winds they've seen so far. Again, everything that we've seen in the last week. I know there's fatigue on the story unless you're living it. But the next 72 hours may see the most turbocharging of flames that are still everywhere. The winds could gust up to 70 miles an hour and could easily erase all progress and expose new areas to evacuation and, frankly, catastrophe. So far, more than 40,000 acres have been burned, but I told you last week, the numbers are irrelevant until a week from now.